Stop. If you keep attracting the same kind of man, the unavailable one, the one who disappears, the one who mirrors your pain instead of your potential, this isn't bad luck. It's not the universe punishing you. It's your shadow doing the choosing. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's what shadow dating is. Falling in love, not from your healed self, but from your unhealed wounds. It looks like chemistry, like passion, like destiny. But really, it's the psyche's most poetic form of repetition, a spiritual mirror disguised as a man. You meet him and it feels electric. He gets you instantly. There's a strange familiarity, like you've met before. You tell your friends, "I don't know what it is, it just feels right." But that rightness isn't always truth. It's recognition. Your nervous system is recognizing what's familiar, not what's healthy. That's the first trap of shadow attraction. It's not love at first sight. It's the wound saying, this pattern again. Let's be honest. So many smart, self-aware women still fall into this. You can meditate, journal, read every psychology book, but the shadow doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks through emotion, impulse, magnetism, through the people you choose and the ones you can't seem to let go of. So today, we're going to decode it. The 7 signs you're not dating from your healed self, but from your hidden wounds. Because when you can name it, you can finally stop repeating it. Before we go into the 7 signs, you need to understand something fundamental Jung taught us. Attraction isn't random. The psyche seeks balance. What's missing in you, what you've repressed, denied, or abandoned, you will unconsciously seek in another. Every person you fall for is carrying a piece of your unconscious. Sometimes it's your disowned strength. Sometimes it's your unhealed pain. Either way, the attraction is an invitation. But until you accept that invitation consciously, you'll keep attracting mirrors instead of partners. So let's begin. Sign number 1. The instant, intoxicating connection that feels too good to be true. This is the classic hallmark of shadow chemistry. It's fast, it's deep, it's intense. You bond within days. He says, "I've never met anyone like you." You feel seen, chosen, understood. But what's really happening is projection. Jung called this the anima and animus dance. You're not seeing him. You're seeing the part of yourself you've buried. Maybe your confidence, your passion, your freedom, projected onto his presence. And he's doing the same to you. 2 unconscious minds falling in love with their own reflection. It feels like connection, but it's actually recognition of inner division. The antidote? Slow down. If something feels like destiny in week 1, it's usually déjà vu from your shadow. Sign number 2. You feel high when he's available and anxious when he's not. This isn't romance. It's a trauma bond. That emotional roller coaster mimics the nervous system of a child who had inconsistent love. 1 minute you were adored, the next ignored. And now your body confuses intensity with intimacy. That's why stable love can feel boring to a dysregulated nervous system. Jung would say your inner child is running the love life, the part of you still trying to earn what should have been unconditional. Healing means reparenting that part of yourself, so she no longer mistakes anxiety for passion. because true connection doesn't make you question your worth between text messages. Sign number 3. You attract men who need saving and call it love. You see potential. You say, he just needs to heal. You become his therapist, his motivator, his mother. Deep down, this dynamic feeds the part of you that believes love must be earned, that if you can fix him, you'll finally be safe. But that's the wound of the caretaker, a mask for your own fear of being abandoned. Jung would call this living from the persona, the false self that tries to earn belonging. Real love doesn't need to be rescued. And when you stop trying to heal others, you create space to attract someone who meets you where you already are, healed or healing, but responsible for themselves. Sign number 4. The relationship feels like an emotional home, even if that home is chaos. You know the feeling. The way his silence feels familiar. The way arguments feel like déjà vu. That's because your shadow seeks what it knows, not what it needs. It's like walking back into the house you swore you'd never live in again. You call it love, but it's loyalty to pain. Jung wrote that the psyche repeats trauma until it learns from it. Every person you attract is a teacher disguised as a lover. They're not here to complete you. They're here to show you where you're still split. The moment you can see this, the moment you stop blaming them, you start liberating yourself. Sign number 5. You become a version of yourself you barely recognize. You start walking on eggshells, shrinking your voice, adjusting your light so he feels comfortable. You call it compromise, but it's self-abandonment. The shadow wants belonging at any cost. It would rather be loved as a mask than risk being rejected as truth. But here's the paradox. The moment you betray yourself to keep someone, you lose both. Jung said individuation, becoming whole, requires the courage to be who you are, even if that means losing who you think you need. When you can hold that boundary, you shift from seeking validation to radiating value. You stop auditioning and start embodying. Sign number 6. You confuse intensity for compatibility. Let's be honest. Many of us grew up equating chaos with love. So when something feels calm, we call it dull. When someone doesn't trigger our wounds, we assume there's no spark. But calm isn't lack of passion. It's lack of trauma. The shadow craves drama because it mirrors our inner conflict. True connection feels safe, sometimes even unsettlingly so. Until your nervous system learns that peace isn't punishment, when you stop chasing adrenaline, you start attracting alignment. And sign number 7, when it ends, it feels like withdrawal, not grief. You obsess, you replay conversations, you wonder, why can't I move on? Because you weren't just attached to the person, you were attached to the unresolved story. That relationship became a stage where your unhealed parts were performing. Losing him isn't the pain. Losing the illusion that he'd heal your wound, that's the real grief. And that's where the transformation begins. Jung said, every relationship is a laboratory of the soul. The people you attract are not random. They are reflections of what you're ready to see. Shadow dating isn't a failure. It's feedback. It's your psyche saying, this is where the work still lives. But the beautiful thing is, the moment you become conscious of the pattern starts to lose power because awareness is the beginning of freedom. Now, before we move into the transformation phase, how to stop shadow dating, pause for a moment. Think of the last person who cracked your heart open. Not to shame yourself, but to study the mirror. What part of you was he reflecting? Was it your unworthiness? Your need to be chosen? Your suppressed fire? Every painful love is a teacher wearing the mask of desire. When you can honor that lesson instead of resenting it, you integrate the shadow instead of repeating it.
Now let's go deeper, because recognizing the pattern isn't enough. Awareness without integration just becomes another loop. You understand it, but you still attract it. Healing means bringing light into the darkness Jung called the shadow, the parts of you you'd rather not see, but that secretly run the show. So let's talk about how to break this cycle and finally start attracting from wholeness, not from hunger. First, understand this. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is the sum of everything you've accepted and everything you've rejected. If part of you still believes love equals suffering, your subconscious will magnetize anyone who keeps that belief alive. It's not punishment, it's precision. The psyche is always seeking equilibrium. It sends you mirrors until you heal the image. So here's the real alchemy. Not to judge your patterns, but to bring them into the light. Jung said the shadow is 90% pure gold. Every trigger, every heartbreak, every obsession is a door to your own power. That man who ghosted you, he mirrored your fear of being invisible. The one who couldn't choose you, he embodied your own indecision about your worth. The emotionally unavailable one, he reflected the part of you that's still afraid of true intimacy. Each encounter was an initiation, an invitation to grow from projection to presence. Let's imagine this. You meet someone new. He's charming, attentive, and there's that spark again. But this time, instead of falling headfirst, you pause. You watch your body. Is it peace or adrenaline? You listen to your mind. Is it curiosity or obsession? You notice your heart. Is it openness or a craving to fill a void? That pause, that sacred pause, is where consciousness enters love. That's the moment you shift from automatic to aware. It's the small gap where you stop reliving your wounds and start rewriting your story. Shadow work in relationships isn't about avoiding connection. It's about upgrading the level of consciousness you bring into it. Instead of asking, "Does he like me?" you begin asking, "What is this connection showing me about me?" Every encounter becomes a mirror, not a verdict. You're no longer the girl chasing validation. You're the woman decoding reflections. Let's talk about healing practices because this can't just stay as insight. When the shadow gets triggered, it needs embodiment. Number 1, feel the feeling instead of the story. When abandonment pain rises, don't run to fix it. Sit with it. Let it move through your body. Ask, what age is this pain? Often you'll feel it in your chest, your throat, your belly. That's your inner child asking for your presence. When you tend to her, you break the compulsion to seek rescuers outside. Number 2, journal the patterns without self-judgment. Write down the names, the timelines, the emotions. See it on paper. The act of witnessing turns unconscious into conscious. You'll start to see the repeating themes, the same dynamics, different faces. That's not failure, that's feedback. It's your psyche showing you the syllabus of your healing. Number 3, reclaim the golden shadow, the positive traits you project onto others. Remember the ones who captivated you? What did they have that you admired? Confidence, freedom, passion? Those are your own disowned qualities trying to return home. Integrate them. Don't worship them in others. Awaken them in yourself. Number 4, reprogram the nervous system for safety. Because no amount of insight can override a body that feels unsafe. Learn to self-soothe, to breathe, to ground. When peace feels familiar, chaos stops feeling like home. That's how you teach your body that love doesn't have to hurt. Number 5, practice discernment, not walls. Healing doesn't mean closing your heart. It means opening it with eyes wide open. Every new connection becomes an opportunity to practice conscious intimacy, the balance between vulnerability and self-respect. When you move from need to choice, you attract those who are also choosing, not using. Number 6, reconcile with your past self. Every version of you that loved from pain deserves compassion, not shame. She did the best she could with what she knew. Go back to her in meditation or journaling. Tell her, you were never too much. You were just too unhealed. When you reclaim her, you reclaim all the energy you left in old relationships. And finally, number 7, live as the integrated woman. She's not perfect, but she's aware. She knows that attraction is information. She no longer confuses attention for affection or chemistry for compatibility. She doesn't chase, she chooses. She doesn't explain, she embodies. She attracts not because she's performing, but because she's at peace. This is the woman Jung envisioned when he spoke of individuation, the woman who has met her shadow and made it her ally. Let's imagine her for a moment. She walks into a room and doesn't need to prove anything. Her energy is grounded, magnetic, calm. She listens more than she explains. She sees patterns instead of taking things personally. And when something ends, she doesn't collapse. She reflects. Because she knows endings are redirections, not rejections. She no longer asks, why did this happen to me? But, what is this teaching me about my own wholeness? That's the frequency that transforms love. That's when the universe says, you're ready for a different mirror now. Here's the truth most people never tell you about love. You don't find the right person by looking harder. You find them by becoming the version of yourself who no longer tolerates what's wrong. The moment you stop chasing validation, you start magnetizing respect. The moment you stop romanticizing pain, you start attracting peace. And the moment you make peace with your shadow, you stop meeting it in others. So the next time you feel that old pull, that intoxicating spark, pause. Ask yourself, is this love, or is this my wound looking for a home? Because your body knows, your energy knows, and your shadow will keep replaying the story until you choose a different ending. You don't have to fear attraction. You just have to meet it consciously. Every connection is sacred when you're awake inside it. When you understand projection, you stop being a puppet of your unconscious and become the author of your reality. That's the real work of awakening. Carl Jung once wrote that we don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is what that looks like in real life. You meet your shadow in love, you learn from it, you forgive yourself, and you rise wiser. Not harder, not colder, wiser. And when you rise, everything shifts. Your friendships deepen. Your standards stabilize. The chaos quiets. People start saying, you feel different. And you'll smile because you'll know. It's not that you stopped loving. It's that you started loving from wholeness. If this message found you today, it's because you're ready. Ready to end the cycle. Ready to turn patterns into power. Ready to stop dating your wounds and start attracting your reflection. Your healed reflection. Now it's your turn. In the comments, share which sign resonated the most with you. Which part of you are you ready to integrate? And if this spoke to your soul, share it with a woman who keeps repeating the same story because she deserves to see herself clearly too. Remember, you are not broken. You are becoming. The shadow isn't your enemy, it's your map. Follow it with compassion, and it will lead you home, to yourself. And that's where real love begins. Because once you know how to love from wholeness, you'll never settle for chemistry born from pain again. You'll recognize peace, and this time you won't mistake it for boredom. You'll choose the calm, you'll choose yourself. And when you do, the right person, the one who meets you in that calm, will feel like recognition, not rescue. You won't chase it, you'll simply allow it, and that's the end of shadow dating. It's not a breakup story, it's a homecoming. A return to the woman you were always meant to be, healed, magnetic, whole. Now breathe, you're free.